What is goodness, if not a leash placed around the neck of the powerful by the powerless? What is morality, if not a social invention meant to bind the strong to the illusions of the weak? You have been taught since birth to be good, to be kind, forgiving, honest, selfless. And for what? To be admired, to be accepted? No. The truth is far more cynical and far more liberating. You were taught to be good so you would be manageable, harmless, predictable. Those who benefit from your obedience do not care about your virtue. They care about your submission. Goodness is not purity. Goodness is weakness in disguise when not guided by wisdom. Do not confuse being a good person with being an effective one. The world is not governed by saints. It is ruled by those willing to do what others refuse to. The politician lies, the merchant cheats, the priest hides, and yet these are the people whose names adorn the halls of power. Why? Because they understood a simple truth that escapes most. Goodness is a performance, and power belongs to those who can wear the mask while pulling the strings behind it. You are not punished for being evil. You are punished for being naive. You must learn this. Being feared is more useful than being loved, and being respected is more powerful than being liked. People will betray the one they love if it benefits them, but they hesitate before crossing the one they fear. They will exploit the kind, yet bow before the ruthless. Kindness, when used without control, becomes a liability. Compassion, without boundaries, becomes a weapon others will use against you. Do not strive to be good. Strive to be sovereign. And if that means being cold, calculating, or cruel at times, so be it. A good person sacrifices, a strategic person selects, a good person forgives, a powerful person remembers, a good person serves others. A master of fate chooses when to serve and when to lead. Your energy is finite. Waste it on being endlessly good, and you will be drained by parasites, martyrs, and manipulators alike. You were not born to be a servant of ideals. You were born to be the architect of your destiny. Goodness is not to be abandoned, but it is to be weaponized. You must learn when to show mercy and when to strike without hesitation, when to tell the truth and when silence will earn you more, when to appear generous and when generosity will bankrupt your influence. Virtue is useful only when you control it. Let it control you, and you will find yourself devoured by wolves in sheep's clothing. So stop trying to be a good person. Start becoming a dangerous one who chooses goodness as a strategy, not a religion. Your value is not in how well you obey the rules. It is in how effectively you bend them to your will. This world does not reward saints. It rewards those who understand the theater of morality and know how to act on its stage with blood beneath their feet and a smile on their face. Morality is not a divine truth. It is a tool forged by the many to restrain the few. The concept of being a good person has been drilled into your mind since the moment you were old enough to obey, not because it elevates your character, but because it tames your ambition. You are taught to be humble so you do not outshine others. You are taught to be generous so others may take what is yours without resistance. You are taught to forgive, not because it heals you, but because it makes you easier to control. Goodness, as society defines it, is a leash placed around your soul and disguised as virtue. It is a prison of noble appearance, but a prison nonetheless, and the more devoutly you worship it, the more invisible its chains become. The masses, fearful and mediocre, elevate goodness as the highest standard because it protects them from the disruptive force of true individuality. A man who acts without concern for the approval of others terrifies them. A man who does not flinch when called selfish, arrogant, or dangerous becomes a threat to their fragile illusions. And so, they declare such a man evil, not because he is cruel, but because he refuses to kneel. The moral order, then, is not about justice. It is about compliance. It is the fortress of the weak, built to contain the fire of the strong. This is why morality is rarely applied evenly. The poor man who steals to survive is a criminal. The powerful man who robs nations through policy is celebrated as a leader. The kind man who bends to everyone's needs is loved but discarded. The calculating man who gives selectively is respected and feared. The lesson is clear. Morality is a performance, selectively enforced and strategically ignored, and those who wield it do so not to elevate goodness, but to manipulate perception. To believe in goodness blindly is to live like livestock, docile, dependable, and destined for slaughter. You must see that behind every call to be good, there is often an unspoken command: be weak, be tame, be less than what you are capable of. True strength lies not in rejecting morality entirely, but in mastering it. Use the appearance of virtue to your advantage. Let others call you kind while you calculate your next move. Let them believe you are honest, while you listen more than you speak. Display goodness only when it serves a purpose, not as a duty, but as a weapon sheathed in smiles. Understand this well. If you follow morality without question, you are not good. You are merely obedient, and obedience without judgment is a form of death. Question every virtue you are told to embrace. Examine who benefits from your goodness, and ask yourself whether it empowers you or diminishes you. A man who sees through morality cannot be ruled by it, and only such a man is truly free. Effectiveness is the true currency of influence, not goodness. The world bends not to those with the purest hearts, but to those with the sharpest minds. 1,000 virtuous intentions amount to nothing if they produce no results. And yet, society romanticizes moral purity while quietly obeying those who act with precision, control, and power. The world does not remember the harmless, it remembers the impactful, the ones who understood how to shape outcomes rather than seek approval. A man who is merely good becomes a footnote. A man who is effective becomes a force. To be effective, you must understand that action triumphs over intention. A person who intends to help but hesitates out of fear or confusion is useless in a world that rewards decisiveness. Meanwhile, the one who moves swiftly, even with controversial methods, becomes the architect of reality. Being effective is not about popularity, it is about results. It is about knowing the terrain of power, mastering timing, using silence as a weapon, and bending perception to your advantage. A good person tries to be liked. An effective person commands respect, and that respect turns into leverage. There is a brutal truth here. The world secretly admires what it publicly condemns. People say they want honest leaders, yet they follow those who manipulate with charisma. They claim to want justice, yet cheer for those who dominate the game. Why? Because effectiveness is magnetic. It evokes awe. It offers security. A strong mind, well-executed decisions, and clear boundaries, even when delivered without warmth, generate more loyalty than endless kindness without authority. And herein lies the Machiavellian paradox. The very people who cry for morality will follow the one who defies it, so long as he wins. Goodness without strategy becomes martyrdom. You give and give, but others take and rise. You forgive, but others repeat their offense. You remain honest, and others use your words as weapons against you. Meanwhile, the effective man is not concerned with appearing flawless. He is concerned with control. He studies the room before speaking. He chooses silence where others seek sympathy. He strikes when the impact is irreversible. His effectiveness makes him feared, respected, and eventually imitated. And that is the ultimate form of power, not goodness, but influence that reshapes the behavior of others. Therefore, if you seek to rise above, you must abandon the obsession with being good and replace it with the obsession to be effective. Let others debate ethics while you learn tactics. Let others speak of intentions while you master results. In the end, the world belongs to those who do not wait for permission, who do not fear contradiction, and who understand that power is not a matter of being right. It is a matter of being effective. Be strategic. Be cold if you must, but above all, be undeniable, because history does not remember who meant well. It remembers who moved the world. Kindness, when left unchecked, becomes a slow poison. It invites exploitation disguised as admiration. The kind are often praised, but rarely protected. They are applauded in public and devoured in private. People do not respect infinite kindness, they use it. Because kindness without boundaries is not a virtue, it is a signal, a flare shot into the sky that says, "You may cross me without consequence." And the world, ever watchful for advantage, responds accordingly. It takes, it tests, it drains. We are told that kindness will earn love, that generosity will return in kind, that selflessness will be remembered. But observe carefully, and you will see the opposite more often than not. The kind are not remembered, they are expected. Their sacrifices are not admired, they are demanded. The more you give without conditions, the more invisible you become. The more you accommodate others, the more they come to believe it is their right. And once your kindness becomes someone else's entitlement, you have already lost. There is a dangerous lie embedded in our collective morality, the belief that being kind makes you good, and being good guarantees safety. But safety does not come from being kind. It comes from being respected. And respect is born not from softness, but from strength. A kind person who cannot say no is not respected. They are tolerated at best, pitied at worst. It is only when your kindness is voluntary, measured, and backed by power that it becomes a noble act. Otherwise, it is merely weakness in ceremonial robes. Machiavelli understood this. He knew that the appearance of virtue often holds more utility than virtue itself. A ruler who is overly generous drains his treasury. A leader who forgives too easily emboldens betrayal. And a man who is kind to all cannot be firm with any. If you are always kind, you are never feared. If you are never feared, you are always at risk. People may smile in your presence, but they plot behind your back, not because you are cruel, but because you are soft. To truly master kindness, you must pair it with discernment. You must ask, does this person deserve my generosity? What are they contributing in return? Are they growing stronger from my kindness or more dependent on it? If your kindness creates imbalance, you are not helping. You are building your own destruction. Learn to withhold, learn to observe, learn to let others earn what you so easily gave before, because the value of your kindness increases the moment you stop offering it freely. Kindness should be like a sword, sheathed but sharp, rarely used but never mistaken for weakness. When you offer it, let it be a gift, not a habit. Let it elevate others, not enable them. And most importantly, let it serve your long-term strategy, not your emotional need to be liked. Because those who lead with unguarded kindness in a world ruled by ambition are not saints. They are sacrifices. Guilt is one of the most effective tools ever invented to keep powerful minds obedient. It is not always administered with chains or punishment. It is embedded in your conscience, whispered through teachings, injected through culture. From the moment you were able to act with intention, you were taught to feel guilty for your ambition, for your anger, for your instincts, for your desires. Guilt tames the strong before they ever discover their strength. It convinces lions that their hunger is evil and sheep that their submission is righteous. It inverts power by infecting the powerful with doubt and praising the powerless for their restraint. To stop trying to be a good person, you must begin by killing the reflex of guilt. You must understand what it truly is, not a signal of wrongdoing, but a signal of conditioning. You feel guilt not necessarily because you've done harm, but because you've violated an invisible script written by others. Guilt punishes deviation, not danger. It scolds you for saying no, even when self-preservation demands it. It torments you for protecting your boundaries, asserting your value, or walking away from those who deplete you. In this way, guilt becomes a parasite of the soul. It feeds on your power and multiplies in your silence. Ask yourself, who benefits when you feel guilty? It is rarely you. It is the manipulator who wants your compliance. It is the weak who want your strength, the lazy who want your effort, the mediocre who want your light, dimmed so theirs may seem brighter. Guilt is how the masses protect themselves from the awakening of the exceptional. It's how they trap your energy in internal conflict, so it is never used to reshape the external world. But here lies the darker truth. Some wield guilt as a weapon deliberately. They play the victim, not because they are hurt, but because it grants them control. They drench themselves in suffering to elicit your shame, to hijack your mind, to pull you into servitude masked as redemption. And because you have been trained to associate morality with self-denial, you obey. You apologize for your success. You shrink in the face of your truth. You sacrifice what is yours to prove your goodness to those who will never return the favor. Freeing yourself from guilt does not mean abandoning your conscience. It means sharpening it. It means knowing precisely why you act and refusing to bow to those who guilt you into compliance. It means learning to say, I do not owe you my energy simply because you are uncomfortable with my power. When you replace guilt with clarity, your life changes. Your choices become cleaner, your strength returns. So discard guilt, for it is the favored chain of every manipulator, the silent killer of the ambitious, the unseen jailer of the mind. In its place, choose resolve. Choose sovereignty. Let your morality be guided not by shame, but by purpose, because only when guilt dies does true freedom begin, and only the free can be dangerous. Authenticity, the great modern virtue, is often misunderstood as openness, constant self-disclosure, emotional vulnerability, and radical honesty, but this is a foolish interpretation that only benefits those who wish to control you. In truth, authenticity is not about exposure. It is about alignment, knowing who you are, acting in accordance with it, and never allowing others to dictate the terms of your expression. You do not owe the world access to your interior life. The more people know of your thoughts, your pain, your past, the more they are equipped to manipulate you. Secrecy is not dishonesty. It is sovereignty. The idea that transparency equals goodness is a myth spread by those who gain power from your visibility. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to disarm. The more readable you are, the easier you are to use. It is not by accident that systems of control demand your total emotional nakedness. They say, speak your truth, let it all out. But what they mean is, hand us the keys to your mind so we may shape it. The truly dangerous man does not need to be seen. He needs to be understood by no one, predictable to none, beholden to nothing but his own code. Even relationships, which are supposedly built on openness, are poisoned when one forgets the value of internal containment. There is power in being unreadable, power in the pause, power in the space between what you feel and what you reveal. When you speak, let it be deliberate. When you share, let it be earned. Your silence should not be emptiness. It should be a fortress. What you withhold is often more important than what you say. And in a world that commodifies confession, mystery is rebellion. Those who live to be seen are always enslaved. Their emotions are dictated by external response. Their actions bend toward applause. But the one who is opaque, calm on the surface, impenetrable beneath, is feared in a way no loud soul could ever be. He is not performative, he is principled. Not everything is explained, and therefore, nothing is assumed. This unpredictability is power. It forces others to respect boundaries they cannot see. Your strength is not proved by how much you reveal, but by how much you can contain without breaking. Can you hold your pain without making it public? Can you carry your joy without needing it validated? Can you plot your future without broadcasting your every step? That is authenticity without vulnerability. That is power without performance. That is the kind of goodness Machiavelli understood, a goodness that wears armor. Let the world cry out for transparency. Let them sell their privacy for approval. You, instead, must cultivate mystery. Not to deceive, but to protect. Not to manipulate, but to preserve your essence from being diluted by the expectations of others. In silence, there is strength. In secrecy, strategy. And in withholding, you are no longer prey. You become the storm no one sees coming. A man who is addicted to approval can never be free. He is a puppet whose strings are pulled by the opinions of the herd. Every action he takes is not an expression of his will, but a performance scripted by the desires of others. He does not think, he reacts. He does not act, he appeases. This kind of man is not living, he is being lived through, and this disease, this hunger for validation, is often disguised as morality. He is praised for being agreeable, applauded for being inoffensive, rewarded for conformity. But inside, he is hollow. The moment approval is withheld, he collapses. What most men fail to realize is that public approval is not the reward of virtue. It is the tax you pay for compliance. The crowd does not love you for being good. They love you for being safe. And the moment you threaten their illusions, the love turns to fear, then to hate. You are not meant to be understood by everyone. If everyone agrees with you, you have betrayed your uniqueness. If no one resents you, you have never stood with conviction. Greatness demands friction, power demands isolation, freedom demands indifference to opinion. To stop trying to be a good person, you must sever the tether between your actions and their applause. You must be willing to disappoint, to be misread, to be vilified, because if you fear being disliked, you will forever be manipulated. You will censor your truth. You will abandon your standards. You will become so agreeable that you disappear. You will mistake likability for strength, but in reality, it is often weakness wearing a smile. The strongest minds are not the most accepted. They are the most undeniable. Machiavelli understood that being loved and being feared are not equals. To be loved is a gift others choose to give you. To be feared is a power you cultivate. When you stop caring whether people approve of you, they begin to fear your independence, because now they cannot control you. They cannot guilt you, flatter you, or threaten you with exile from the group. You have become untouchable, not because you are cruel, but because yourself. Worth is no longer for sale. This is not a call to arrogance, but to internal authority. You must build a mind so grounded in its values that no external force can sway it. Your ethics should not fluctuate with trends. Your choices should not bend to popularity. The man who governs himself commands respect, even from those who disagree with him. But the man who seeks approval begs for it, and beggars are never feared. So if you wish to rise, if you wish to build power that lasts, kill your addiction to being liked, be polite but not submissive. Be kind but never needy. Let your silence speak louder than their noise, and let your confidence terrify those who live through consensus. In a world addicted to attention, your indifference is rebellion. And rebellion, not goodness, is the seed of transformation. There is a silent kind of strength that terrifies people more than aggression ever could. It is the calm certainty of a man who does not flinch, a man who does not explain himself, a man who does not ask for permission to exist, to desire, to pursue. He is not boastful, nor is he apologetic. He simply acts with precision, without noise. His presence alone creates unease, not because he is loud, but because he cannot be placed, cannot be read, cannot be swayed. And this, in a world built on manipulation and emotional dependency, is deeply unsettling. Most people rely on shared narratives to feel safe. They want cues, signals, verbal affirmations. They are addicted to reassurance, but when they face someone who offers none, who does not flinch under their scrutiny, who does not conform to their emotional games, they panic. They call him cold, arrogant, distant, but what they are truly reacting to is his immunity, his ability to detach, his refusal to play the roles they expect. He becomes a mirror, revealing their own dependence on validation, their own fear of standing alone. To stop trying to be a good person, you must become this kind of presence, not cruel but detached, not hostile but unshakable. You must master your emotions so completely that no one can provoke you into self-betrayal. When others insult, you do not react. When they flatter, you do not melt. When they threaten to withdraw their love, their approval, their support, you do not beg. You continue forward unbothered. And in this unwavering posture lies the greatest kind of power, the kind that terrifies precisely because it cannot be controlled. People are not afraid of violence. They are afraid of indifference. A man who can walk away from anything cannot be leveraged. A man who can suffer in silence cannot be blackmailed. A man who values his own judgment above all cannot be seduced. This man is not easy to label, and because he does not bend to social pressure, he he becomes socially dangerous. He does not strive to be seen as good. He strives to be sovereign. Machiavelli would not have called this virtue. He would have called it calculation. But behind that calculation is a psychological truth. The less you need from others, the more control you have over yourself, and the more influence you exert over them, not by force, but by the sheer gravity of your self-possession. You do not need to raise your voice. Your stillness is louder than their chaos. You do not need to prove anything. Your presence proves everything. This is the final death of the good man, the man who explains, who asks, who begs to be accepted. Kill him, bury him. Replace him with the man who acts with full understanding of his power, who is feared not because he harms, but because he does not need. In that space, you are no longer good. You are inevitable. And that is far more terrifying than any act of aggression could ever be.